That is insane. How can you defend that? That is completely insane. It is completely unacceptable. This is a landmark legal case, and this legal battle will determine the future of American fascism.
CBS News 24/7 with an eye to court battles over a pro-Palestinian activist facing deportation out of the United States. We are talking about Mahmoud Khalil. So let's learn a little bit more about him. He's a legal U.S. resident. He has a green card. He protested against Israel's war in Gaza at Columbia University. Of course, we know Columbia University getting a strong finger wagging and a withdrawal of some big-time dollars in recent days. Immigration agents arrested Khalil over the weekend, shipped him off to a detention center in Louisiana. Columbia grad. Now his supporters and legal advocates are rallying for his release. Well, fast forward to today, and this is the scene from the sky. The arrest sparking demonstrations in some parts of our country, not the least of which right outside the courtroom. The White House says Khalil's arrest is the first of many. And that sent protesters who say his speech should be protected as a legal resident of the United States under green card status. Well, they say they're going to protest that. They say he should be protected, should not be deported. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security, we are understanding, says they will detain more people connected with last year's protests.
The American government, the right-wing American government, is now actively looking into denaturalizing or at least revoking the green card of legal permanent residents. Mahmoud Khalil is the first step. They've stated that they're going to do this over and over again. Okay, terrorist simps are out of control by Asmongold 6 hours ago. Talking about Mahmoud Khalil, by the way, Mr. Free Speech Defender. Asmongold thinks when boobs get pixelated or when boobs are like a little bit smaller in a video game, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to free speech. That's the grossest anti-free speech crime that Sony could commit on Stellar Blade. Asmongold literally went after those petitions that freak-ass Grums made. He defended that. He hyped it up. But God forbid, when the American state actually puts down the hammer and decides, we don't like what you have to say, you're going to get deported, then he goes terrorist simps. As I was saying, pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil was black-bagged from his Columbia University campus apartment by the Department of Homeland Security, by ICE agents, and expeditiously shipped off to Louisiana. Today, in New York, a New York judge oversaw whether or not that was appropriate. Okay? And it's not appropriate. In the time frame that this happened a couple days prior, we learned that the Department of Homeland Security actually openly stated that there was no illegal reasons there was no law that was violated for Mahmoud Khalil's arrest and subsequent deportation, or the deportation process starting, and that it was specifically because they didn't like what he was saying. It was because of what he was doing and what he was saying, which was Mahmoud Khalil being a pro-Palestinian activist, a student activist. That's it. That right there is a direct violation of the First Amendment. If you can't see that, if you can't understand how dangerous this is to turn a blind eye to, then it's over. Your eyes are closed. Fascism is here, and your eyes are completely closed. It was not even an arrest. It was a kidnapping by the government. And it wasn't even like this person saying things that were anti-American either. It was literally for a foreign nation. For a foreign nation. The nation of Israel he hurt the nation of Israel's feelings. He must now be deported. You cannot be a green card holder and hurt the feelings of the glorious state of Israel. What a ridiculous situation this is. Where are the free speech advocates? This is a real violation of free speech. This is a real violation of the American right to demonstrate.
What crimes did he commit personally to deserve deportation? It's hard to say whether he committed a crime, but there's a higher standard of conduct for people that are green card holders than people who are natural.
That's not true. That's not true. That's literally not true. No. First of all, if that was the case, then the American government could just kidnap tourists on U.S. soil. Okay. Oh, you're on a tourist visa. I can kidnap you and you now. You have no laws, no due process whatsoever. Like, it doesn't work that way, okay? Everyone that's legally and even illegally on U.S. soil still has due process. They still have a right to a fair trial, okay? The idea, this is like, you don't know anything. It makes me so mad. There is no tiers for people in terms of like the criminal justice system. You can't just be like, no, sorry, you're a green card holder. I can, the government can come in and just deport you. No, the reason why people are freaking out over this is because up until this moment, it is completely unacceptable, okay? Just because the government decides it's acceptable doesn't mean it is. It is not only immoral, but it's also illegal. You can't, based your way out of this argument. It's so stupid.
Naturalized citizens. Yeah, there's a higher standard of conduct. And he wasn't meeting that conduct, so he's getting deported, hopefully.
Hopefully. My grandmother was from Germany, had to flee with her family during Hitler's regime. She had relatives who would eventually be killed in the camps. In her life story, she wrote that one of the first steps when Hitler took power was to strip all educational institutions of Jewish professors, including her father. So they had to leave. This is fascism. This is Nazism. It's already here, and it's not hyperbolic to call it that. Exactly. It's not. It's not. People don't understand. People do not fucking understand what is going on. People do not understand what's happening. What's happening in front of their eyes, dude. Oh, people think Nazis just tuned up the Holocaust button to 11 overnight. Like, it just happened overnight. It wasn't a process that took decades of dehumanization and justifications that were created, legal justifications that were created off of completely false premises that Jews were responsible for all the wrong things in America. I mean, I'm saying American because we are talking about America, in German society. It didn't happen. It was gradual. We are closer and closer than ever before. We're in it now. We're officially in it. The only thing that is stopping Donald Trump from implementing full-blown Gestapo at this moment, the only thing that is stopping Donald Trump from implementing full-blown Gestapo of like door knocking and just like rounding up people and putting them in concentration camps is logistics. That's it. We've passed the Rubicon. The only thing that's stopping these guys is money, okay? And also, all of this is happening. It's all tied together. All of this is happening.
I heard that it got blocked. And there should be? Yeah, they should be. And I support this completely. I hope they do this to more of them. We have enough troublemakers in the country already without importing new ones on green cards to start even more trouble.
Dude, you live in a house that has black mold with cockroaches on you, okay? Shut up. Oh my God, this makes me so mad. Oh my God, what a vile, ghoulish way to approach the subject matter, dude. I'm gonna at him. I don't even know if I should be joking about the violation of free speech when devs make video game boobs smaller, but like it is so ridiculous. Free speech defender, dude. Totally valid to deport these troublemakers. The guy has literally done numerous videos. The guy has literally done numerous fucking videos on how Trump is defending, is a based free speech defender, while also simultaneously advocating for the deportation of a person that directly violates free speech. Here, let's take a look at what he had to say. I want to hear what he had to say. This is the largest political commentator on this platform. Let's see what his opinion is on this issue. He titled it, "Terrorist Simps Are Out of Control."
Any reasonable ground to believe he would have a potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequence. And you mentioned he's a resident alien. He can be deported under U.S. law for if the Secretary of State has any reasonable ground to believe he would have a potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequence. And you mentioned the student organization. The student organization put out...
Let me finish. But before you move on, because I think that's a really important point, right? That's the statute that they're using.
Yeah.
Have you seen any evidence to suggest that there is actually a serious reason to believe that this student is going to be a threat to national security?
I've certainly watched the abomination that's gone on at Columbia and Barnard and other places, and I will just tell you,
threat to national security.
And I'll just tell you that
Absolutely. And also, being a threat to national security is not the only expectation. A person could be dangerous. Like, I think that, like, saying a threat to national security is an attempt to minimize his behavior in order to justify defending him. The fact is, this person paid lip service and was part of an organization that promoted a terrorist organization. He was a leader of the organization. Playing it down, yeah, this is, again, is it, do you guys see this? This happens constantly. The exploitation and the intentional manipulation of language is one of the most pervasive and...
Bro, you're doing that right now by saying this person, terrorism. Making this person out to be a terrorist ringleader is quite literally what you claim Scott Jennings is doing here, which is ironic because you agree with him. You just said this dude, without any evidence whatsoever, you're like, this dude is a ringleader of a terrorist group. He's offering support to a terrorist group. Like, what do you mean by that? What has this group done, for example? Do you have any evidence to back up this claim whatsoever? Do you have any evidence that Mahmoud Khalil has offered material support to a terrorist group? No, of course not. The idea of just like simply saying, well, this is a terrorist group, this guy likes bad guys, is ridiculous. You're not making an argument at all. You're just simply repeating what the State Department is saying. Oh,
I would say subversive tools that a lot of people use that is extremely persuasive to people that don't have a lot of, like, I would say, like, verbal intelligence. And you see this happen, and it doesn't get explained very often because most people, honestly, straight up don't understand it.
I'm not going to let you move on because this is...
I'll tell you why it's a threat to national security if you let me answer you.
Well, Scott.
You want me to answer you or not?
Okay.
His organization says we are dedicated fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization.
Okay.
He's not a citizen.
Okay.
what are you talking about? What is this statement? That's not even, the total eradication of Western civilization. Number one, there is no evidence whatsoever that this person has ever said that, or even if it was real or not. It turns out it wasn't real. Okay. That literally was just a falsehood. He has spread a falsehood. Yes, I watch a bunch of like OSINT Twitter Andes. They actually tracked down the supposed flyer that had said that. Okay. And they found out that it was just made up, not real. Now, having said that, what the does that mean? There are people that actively champion neo-Nazi causes. You still can't deport them unless they have actually agitated or moved in the direction of doing a heinous crime. The bar, deportation, or the revoking of a person's green card, legal permanent residency. What? More charitability for Amon at this point? Just another right-wing grifter? What are you saying? I have no charity at all. What are you talking about? I will extend charity to people as long as, one, they are being charitable and actually covering the subject matter from a position of authority with a little bit of interest in understanding it. If they're doing unrestricted right-wing propaganda, it's over. It's done. No more charity. What are you talking about? That ship is long sailed. Stop trying to create drama out of this anyway. I don't really care. Listen to me. Listen to my words. Okay? This right here is not even like historic fascist apologia. Okay? This is active current day fascism that's taking place, and he is championing it. It's completely unacceptable. It is completely acceptable. The only reason why he can get away with saying this shit is because the government is doing it. So when the government is doing it, you can get away with saying whatever you want. This is so insane, dude.
Case closed. Get out. Easy enough. Yeah. How could you possibly debate this? And
What do you mean, how can you possibly debate this? It is directly at odds with the First Amendment. Okay? The standards for every person on U.S. soil for deportation, which is a violent process. Deportation is a violent process, okay? No ands, ifs, or buts. You're removing someone from their life, their livelihood, their family members, their culture, the life that they grew up in. It is an inherently violent act. It's a very violent act. And if the state has the capacity to engage in an inherently violent act such as deportation, they have to have an incredibly high bar to clear. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say there's no justification for deportations or any sort of legal enforcement. Okay, of course there are. That's the whole basis behind having rules and laws and standards and regulations. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and act like there's no rhyme or reason for deportations ever. Having said that, this instance is completely unacceptable. And it's not like they are lying. It's not like they're lying and finding reasons for it. Well, I guess Scott Jennings did lie in this circumstance. But the irony there is that what Scott Jennings lied about is still not acceptable for deportation. You cannot deport someone or revoke their green card because they were distributing a pro-Hamas flyer. That's insane. What are we talking about? It is a direct violation of the First Amendment. A direct violation. What do we have any of these rules for? Glenn Greenwald is correct on this. He says, also, quick First Amendment review. People are allowed to praise whomever they want. I can stand up every day and say, I love Al. I can argue Hamas has the right to use violence to resist Israel. I can urge the U.S. to Iran or Peru. That is called free speech. And yes, non-citizens do get the benefits of the Bill of Rights. Okay, the idea that the Constitution is for U.S. citizens only is wrong. You're just wrong. For the record, if this wasn't the case, there could be no real legal battle in this process. There is one, okay? There is one. Can you imagine just being like, hey, the government, like, what happened? Remove your own personal perspective about Israel from the matter for one moment, if you are even in here and found yourself watching me, even though you're pro-Israel, okay, accidentally. Remove that part of the equation for a second. What happened here is the government said, I don't like what you said. I am going to take away your green card. Initially, they thought he was on a student visa. So they were going to revoke his student visa, which, again, unacceptable. Then they found out that he had a green card. Okay? Then they were like, we're going to revoke your green card. And then they actively said, this is the reason why we're revoking your green card, because we don't like what you have to say. That is insane. How can you defend that? That is completely insane. It is completely unacceptable. This is a landmark legal case. And this legal battle will determine the future of American fascism, straight up.
This is the issue, is that these people are nailing themselves up to a cross of a person who is supporting a terrorist organization and is part of an organization that wants to eradicate Western civilization.
That's not true, for the record. Here, I'll show you the proof. It was, I think it was a Tal Hagen or whatever that showed proof. Hold on, let me find it real quick. That the Western civilization flyer or whatever wasn't real. I will tell you once again, even if it was, that's still not a bar that you can clear for deportation or the revocation of a green card. It's not. Okay? You can't do that. I need you to understand. You cannot do that. Here's a misinformation, disinformation researcher, Tal Hagen. Based on an OSINT review, the original post is alleged to have been uploaded by CUAD is highly likely to have been real. This is based not on, wait, what? The original post has been uploaded is highly likely to have been real. This is based on not trusting. I thought that you said that it wasn't real. We are Westerners. Wait, what? Heads up, this is fake. The statement came from a group called Columbia University Bengali Student Association. It was printed on Mondo Wise on August 4th, 2024, in a much longer essay expressing solidarity with the student movement in Bangladesh. On August 8th, 2024, the IG accounts called Jews in School and Anti-Semitism Today posted the picture claiming it was from CUAD's page after an ex-user named Stu Studio posted the Mondo Wise article to his X page. This is evidence of radicalism all Zionists are using to attack Mahmoud Khalil today. Screenshot of a fake IG post. Tal Hagen says it is highly likely to have been real. The conclusion that it is real based on one important piece of evidence, the link address. Okay? He says that it's real. The first mention of the code is mentioned by the OP Mondo Wise article, now deleted, written by Hind Hall 46. Hind Hall refers to a hall in Columbia University, renamed by Palestinian protesters. No details are given to the identity of authors themselves. Right deleted post, left of what appears now. This post, real or not, as I have stated, and I still don't think it was real, but it doesn't even matter if it was real, is not enough to deport someone, okay? The post by CUAD was allegedly written on August 7, 2024. We have no screenshot of the post showcasing this as being the date it was uploaded. However, the next day on August 8, 2024, various pro-Israel activists and organizations begin to make posts about the alleged CUAD post. One of the earliest people who posted about the alleged post wasn't from Jews in School and Anti-Semitism Today, but rather the Stu Studio. We know this via the inspect tool and covering the time date given. After this post, several different users discussed the alleged post from the CUAD, including those two aforementioned Instagram users. Campus reform. What's the next steps? Sources for these pages claim. All the previously mentioned posts, besides the Instagram duo and the New York Times, provide an alleged source of the original post by CUAD. All of them lead to the exact same link address. Okay? They're saying that this post that was highlighted and elevated by pro-Israel accounts is a real post that they had actually briefly mentioned on their story that came from initially a student group, a Bangladesh student group. Okay, the post in and of itself reads as follows. We are Westerners fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. We stand in full solidarity with every movement for liberation in the global South. Our intifada is an internationalist one. We are fighting for nothing less than the liberation of all people. We reject every genocidal eugenicist regime that seeks to undermine the personhood of the colonized. As the fascism ingrained in American consciousness becomes ever more explicit and irrefutable, we seek community and instructions from militants of the global South who have been on the front lines in the fight against tyranny and domination which undergird the imperialist world order. Biplop Chobe, revolution must continue. This statement, okay, saying we are fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization comes across as a scary one to people living in Western civilization. They're like, ooh, it's scary. Scary posts are not enough to deport a student activist leading the Columbia University Apartheid Divestment Group. You are out of your mind. This statement also, these are people who are talking about people that are being destroyed, okay? People that are being destroyed by American imperialism, by Western imperialism. A student activist who didn't even post this, even if he literally distributed this flyer to every single person, it's completely unacceptable that like Western civilization is destroying our lives. We live here. We want to do everything we can to basically stop American empire from destroying the global South. Even if they said that every day of the week, you cannot deport the person for saying that. That is insane. I don't care if this offends the sensibilities of liberals. If you are a liberal and you care about the First Amendment, this is a direct violation of the First Amendment. If you think that it is appropriate to deport someone who is like 8 degrees removed from a post that we don't even know if it's like actually real or not, but even if it's real, even if he was running around posting this thing every day, like putting it up like Martin Luther on every door you could find, okay, and just slamming it on every door you can find, you cannot deport this person for that. That is ridiculous. The fact that this is it, the fact that a post that they claim was reposted by the Columbia University Apartheid Divest Instagram account is enough for one of the lead negotiators in the CUAD. Okay, the fact that that is the smoking gun evidence that they have is insane, because the smoking gun evidence they have is also not enough. In order for someone to be deported, okay, and there is still not enough evidence, like the Tal saying that this is a reasonable evidence because like there's an Instagram post without showing the actual Instagram post, the origination of this post is, you know, this is definitely not his best work in terms of clarifying something like this. But you need to understand something. I'm going to say it once again. Even if Mahmoud Khalil every day was distributing flyers like this, okay, that said these words on it, you cannot deport him or revoke his green card over this. That is a violation of the First Amendment. Okay? It is completely and utterly unacceptable.
How do you, like, this should be the easiest W of your life. How does anybody argue against this?
First Amendment sucks to suck. I mean, get wrecked, libtard. See, it seems more like the ones cheering for his deportation don't actually care about this argument. Yeah, there is the real reason why they want to on his deportation is because they just want to punish pro-Palestinian activists. That's it. They don't even care about Israel. I don't think Asmongold gives a about Israel. What are you talking about? He's just flying off. He's just flying off on anything that is like pro-Trump or pro-right-wing, pro-MAGA. He's just, saying this is great. It's based. That's his position here. Couldn't a lawyer argue that it's a terrorist threat to the U.S., which was the ground to remove a green card genuinely? No. I mean, they could try and argue that, but it's completely unacceptable. Okay? All of these free speech defenders do not understand how free speech works. Okay? They misunderstand it, either deliberately or because they don't care. They openly acknowledge that free speech is a defense of being able to say slurs, and then no one else can say anything in return to you saying the slurs. Okay? That's free speech. That's the extent of free speech for these guys.
He doesn't need to be here.
Why doesn't Asmon use the politics tag? What is this shit? Yeah, that part I don't understand. I don't understand how Twitch has not enforced Asmon to use the politics tag. I don't know. People say he doesn't use it. I'm shocked if that's the case, considering that we literally watch the same. And if I don't use the political tag, I'm sure he's using it. Yeah, intended for certain audiences. He is using it. You're wrong. Why do chatters come in here and say wrong shit? He is using it. It says intended for certain audiences, may contain politics and sensitive social issues. He is using the politics tag. You guys are so stupid, dude. Some of you motherfuckers are so goddamn dumb. You don't even do like 3 seconds of research. You just come in here and you just say some shit. And if I don't immediately check it and I read you saying it, okay? I read you saying it. You just create a fantastic opportunity for someone to clip that and be like, Hasan is lying about Asmongold.
Again, this dude, it's actually insane how manipulative the language is. Viewpoints that you disagree with. Oh, well, that's, this abstract, like personal opinion, just a general.
People are talking about the tag in the bottom. No, that is a tag that I put on my own stream. That's not what we're talking about. This is a separate tag.
Whole idea. Again, you see how this is happening. What crimes did he commit personally to deserve deportation? It's hard to say whether he committed a.
Yeah, even members in his community. Are like, what are you talking about? What crime has he done?
Crime. But there's a higher standard of conduct for people that are green card holders than people who are naturalized citizens. Yeah, there's a higher standard of conduct.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. They still get First Amendment protections. If they didn't, green card holders are one step removed from the naturalization process. Full-blown naturalization implies that you can vote. That's like the major distinction, okay? As a green card holder, you can't vote. But and also you, I think, have to tell the government if you're like out of the country for extended periods of time. But beyond that, green card is basically a placeholder until you get your full-blown naturalization. This argument is wrong regardless, okay? There is no higher standard, as in you can't do certain things beyond what I just described, okay? Especially as it pertains to free speech. There is no higher standard there. It's just wrong. It doesn't make any sense. So much of conservative commentary, and not just from Asmongold, but just in general, so much of conservative commentary unironically just comes from someone not knowing basic facts about a situation and just going off on the incorrect assumptions that they've made thus far. And I'm willing to bet if he was pushed on this position, he would turn around and bring up what I just said, which is, well, green card holders, they have to let the federal government know that when they have to leave the state for 6 months or they can't vote. So there is a higher standard. It's like, yeah, not on speech though, okay? You're not, that's in this process, it does not matter. What you're describing does not matter. Green card holders are de facto citizens, okay? And this protection does not just extend to green card holders. It extends to everyone on U.S. soil. It's supposed to extend to everyone on U.S. soil, okay? If it did not, then the American government could unconditionally and unironically go up to a area where there's a lot of tourists and round them up. No due process. Just, you're a tourist. You have no rights. Can you, think about that? You have no rights, baby. You're a tourist. Sorry. We can you and you now because guess what? We've decided you have no rights.
And he wasn't meeting that conduct, so he's getting deported, hopefully. I heard that it got blocked.
It did get blocked. Or it is
and there
in the
should
process
be?
of being
Yeah,
blocked.
they should be. And I support this completely. I hope they do this to more of them. We have enough troublemakers in the country already without importing new ones on green cards to start even more trouble. Who needs this?
What do you mean trouble? Like you're literally Asmongold's position on this is just I also don't agree with what this person was saying, or at least what I'm suspecting this person was saying. Okay. So it's okay if he gets deported. What a crock of what happened to the I defend people I disagree with on the basis of free speech? What happened to the Trump is based for ending the war against free speech?
Is that enough to have someone lose their rights in this country?
He has viewpoints that, in my opinion, jeopardize.
Yes. He doesn't have a right to be here. No non-citizen has a right to be here.
The security of the United States.
But how?
He is obviously a radical who is here to foment.
No, he's not a radical at all.
Violence against the United States government.
He's not a radical at all.
He's not. He's not. He's just not. He's not. He's not a radical at all. A moral position against a genocide and an apartheid is not a radical position. Okay? What?
And he's
also claiming something is radical, claiming something is a radical statement is not enough to justify deportation. Oh my God.
Part of an organization that wants the total eradication of Western civilization. That's not radical. Do you want to know what I think is really sad? Is that I believe them. I think that's not radical for them. I know this helps your content. I applaud someone with common sense. You're just tired of this crap and face palming hard at their stream. Like, what the f is wrong with people? No, I think that it's a difference of opinion. Yeah, exactly. I don't mind this at all. And I think that it's important to call this kind of stuff out because I think this type of, especially like verbal manipulation, is so pervasive nowadays.
You're doing verbal manipulation by saying someone is a terrorist, by saying someone is a radical, and not actually addressing the meat argument. That's what you're doing. You're saying, oh, well, yeah, apparently the Columbia University apartheid. He didn't even say that. Scott Jennings basically said, oh, no, this person actually wants and has said that he wants to eradicate Western civilization. Okay? That's what his claim was. You didn't even do any research into it. And you also didn't even look into whether or not that is an appropriate reason to deport someone. That right there is unironically what you're claiming other people are doing here.
And most people, I'm going to be honest, don't even notice it.
Thank God you're woke enough to notice it, though.
He wants to destroy Western civilization.
Against the United States government.
You're saying
Scott.
eradicate Western civilization doesn't make you a radical?
Has he acted in any way that is
I think he
violence
has.
against the United States government, as you just said?
I think these protests.
What a great argument.
That is a great argument. Yes. That is actually the bare minimum argument here. Yes. The standard for deportation has to be insanely high. What are we talking about? Yes, you have to literally do violent acts at the behest. You have to do like literally an act of not just like what the American government considers terrorism, like what most people would understand as like a violent act. I mean, that is how high the standard for deportation is. What saying words that I disagree with is not a standard for deportation. The entire conversation that we're having right now is that the Trump administration wants to make that a bar for deportation, and revoking someone's green card. That is insane. Oh my God. We didn't even revoke the citizenship and deport the Boston Marathon. What are we talking about? Think about that, dude. Think about that. Is still in an American prison, okay?
Somebody who wants to eradicate the entire country, we have to wait for them to do it. Eradicate the culture. We have to wait for them to do it before we get rid of them. What a great way to look at it. Yeah, let's wait for it to happen. That's smart.
And the violence.
The Boston Marathon bomber became a naturalized U.S. citizen on September 11, 2012. Okay? Became a naturalized U.S. citizen on September 11th, 2012. They could have denaturalized him then.
They have fomented, and the intimidation and fear against the Jewish kids on these campuses is absolutely an act of insurrection against the United States.
I don't think any American speech, Scott. That's enough.
Look,
Yes.
look what they have.
Yeah, it is. Categorically, it's enough. And I think that every normal person in America would say that they want somebody deported who is actively a supporter of a terrorist organization and wants the eradication of Western civilization. Any normal person who's not been radicalized by the internet, if this person is not a citizen, get them the f*** out. And also, let's apply a little bit of logic to this too. This is what I said.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for the logic, dude. Let's apply some logic.
Johnny Somali goes to Korea and he acts a fool. Korea puts him in jail for 10 years. Everybody's happy.
Wait, Johnny Somali went through the legal process because he was in violation of numerous laws. He did crimes. This person didn't. That is the point. You can't just say something is a crime because I don't like what he's saying. That's the whole point. The entire reason why this is a extension and a violation of precedents is because he didn't do a crime, let alone one that justifies the revocation of his green card. Johnny Somali didn't go to Korea and was like, I don't know, I love the DPRK or something. And I don't even know if like there are actual free speech protections in Korea against that sort of thing. He went and he harassed people routinely, and they still haven't deported him. That's the other thing.
And do you want to know one of the reasons why Koreans were so angry? It's because he was trying to like dry hump.
Dude, no, he said that too, but that's not what. Okay, once again, that is not the only thing he did. Okay, that is not the only thing he did. That's number one. Number two, rules and laws as far as like being a public nuisance are entirely different in a place like South Korea or in a place like Japan. That's number two. Number three, he was on a tourist visa. He wasn't a green card recipient. Okay, he's not a green card recipient in the United States of America, where we have free speech restrictions. Restrictions as in restricting the fucking federal government from taking criminal action against someone whose words you don't like. This is not an apt comparison, especially considering that, once again, Johnny Somali as a tourist did crimes. Okay, this person is not a tourist. He has a green card and he didn't do crimes. This is an entirely separate position.
One of the like Korean comfort women statues that were like relics of World War II because of war crimes. It was blatant disrespect to their culture, and everybody was supporting this and thinking that.
What about American culture, man? Are you anti-American? What the is going on? By the way, you could literally do that in America. You could do that in the United States of America, for the record, or something similar to that in the United States of America, and it would not be a standard that is violated enough to revoke someone's green card or even their tourist visa, really.
It's a good thing. And by the way, I completely support Korea for putting this person in jail. You are a visitor to this country. You are not a citizen in this country. You are a guest. Why is there
Why is there a distinction between legal permanent residents and green cards if they're all, in Asmongold's world, non-citizens? This is deliberate. Maybe he doesn't realize what he's doing, but he straight up is saying, even if you have a green card, you're not a full-blown American, okay? He's not a visitor, dog. He has a green card. He has an American wife who is 8 months pregnant with their child. What the are you saying? Like, does he think that it's only the case because like this dude has a brown name, like a scary name? What is he saying here?
Get the fuck out. If you're doing this, if you go to Russia and you start talking about how bad Russia...
I hate this argument. Do you want America to be like Russia? Is that what you want? Because you're advocating for America to be like Russia. This is so stupid. God damn, I hate this fucking argument. I hear it all the goddamn time. They always, dumbass right-wingers always come into my chat and say, Hasan, if you don't like it, leave, dumbass. Oh, we got free speech here, you. Also, I hate you for using that free speech. If you don't like it, go to Russia. I'll exile you to Russia or Turkey, Turkestan, wherever you're from. It's like, oh, so you want there to be restrictions on free speech. Got it. Okay, nice. Like, what do you mean? Oh, if you did that in Russia, you get deported or thrown in jail. It's like, yeah, exactly. But we're not. We're not. Are you saying we should?
Russia is, you're going to get kicked out of Russia. If you go to China, I don't think you're even going to get kicked out of China if you do that.
Yeah, what are they going to do? What are they, oh, yeah? What's the Chinese government going to do? They're going to you?
If you do this anywhere else in the world, you would immediately get removed.
Do you like that? Is that a thing that you're advocating for in America? Because that's what you're advocating for in America. Oh, my God.
Because it's common sense. If someone comes into your house and they start complaining about it constantly and, supporting somebody burning down your house, I would tell them, please leave my house. In any other abstraction of this logic, it becomes outrageously retarded.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The house analog is so funny when you're talking about the whole ass nation. Okay. I love when conservative morons constantly be like, well, we need some fiscal belt tightening because if your family is spending more than they make, then you're in debt. It's like, dude, that is the government. Okay. Do you agree with every single person? Are you advocating to basically make the country into your house? As in, everyone has to agree with you. First of all, your house specifically, holy America is turning into Asmongold's house. Jesus Christ, that is kind of the problem here, okay? Big problem. But having said that, of course, the entire American country is not the same. It's not an analog. You can't make an argument like that. You don't agree with every single person in this country. It's normal. It's understandable.
But inside of this contrived and ridiculous line of reasoning, we are defending a person who wants to eradicate all of Western civilization and supports a terrorist organization. And this is the person who is...
No, he did not advocate for that. That's number one. And even if he did, it is still not a justification to revoke someone's green card. Holy he is unironically going, try that in Russia. You'd get deported real quick. And then unironically advocating that we should do that in America. How does no one understand this? How, it genuinely doesn't make sense. Do you think it's awesome that in your hypothetical that, you get deported in Russia and it's awesome that that happens in Russia and we should do it more here? Because that's what you're saying. This is a very personal issue for me. Not because, I'm branded as a radical, pro-terrorist, pro-Hamas guy or whatever the right? I don't give a shit about that. That's not the reason. The reason why this is personal to me is because I come from Turkey, okay, where there are no free speech protections. This is an issue that I have advocated for fairly consistently, okay? The reason why I've advocated for this fairly consistently is because I know what it looks like when you don't have free speech protections, okay? You go to jail for hurting the feelings of the government. That is not something that I think is good for America. And that's where we're at now. Here, I'll let my brilliant conservative friend make this argument for me instead. Perhaps perhaps that will drive home the point a little bit better.
So let me suggest that as a legislature, your chief job is to ensure that my taxpayer dollars in this state go toward making sure that people like me and people with whom I disagree get to speak in places like college campuses, and not toward regulating what speech you find good and what speech you find bad, because it's a really dangerous business, and there's speech I don't like, there's speech you don't like. But if we can't agree that there is a difference between speech and violence, we're not going to be able to have a free state, let alone a free country.
Wow. Now he loves it that the Trump administration is basically revoking grants from college campuses because they haven't been aggressive enough. Thoughts on Mudahar's response and the video in particular? What, did he do a video on it as well? I know he tweeted he tweeted out a storm. I already addressed it this morning.
Thanks. So let me suggest.
Yeah, leftist commentator Ben Shapiro. Yeah, radical liberal Ben Shapiro.
Worthy of support. I know there's like 5 people in chat that actually think this, right? But I'm saying that there is a large enough contingent of people that think this, that it's a conversation point. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I actually think the guy we deport from Colombia should be put in Gitmo. Well, I don't know about that. Just send him back to his country. F that. I don't want to spend money keeping this guy in jail. I don't want to deal with that.
Engaged in is a...
You seem angry? Yeah, of course. The question is, why aren't you? Why are you not angry? Why are you not angry? We're watching a fascist administrative apparatus basically decide on who gets deported, who gets criminally prosecuted for speech it doesn't like, and you don't even recognize how dangerous this is. Yeah, of course I'm angry. This is unlike what a lot of these free speech defenders constantly claim, like a private institution deciding, I don't like what you're saying. I don't want to, I don't want to allow you into this business or whatever. Okay, which sucks and is. This is a real violation of the First Amendment. Okay, arresting people for political protest is done by the state specifically so that there's a chilling effect on speech, so you know not to do it again. This is precisely what the American government is doing right now. Optics matter, always have, and if you are going to argue for an issue, you can't insult the people and culture that has allowed you to complain about your issue without being jailed. You can say legally you can't deport him, but if the public doesn't view him favorably, it'll be harder to argue against his deportation amongst the general public. Are you not hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth? I'm also describing why this is a dangerous precedent and it will be harmful to the general public in general. That is my whole argument here. And also, the notion that this person who is being obviously tarred and fettered all around the internet right now, the notion that he is assuming a generally unfavorable view and that's why he's being deported is, one, ridiculous, because it's not that the overarching, like the overwhelming majority of public decide who gets deported and who doesn't. And number two, the notion that like everyone actually wants to deport people for saying mean things about Israel is psychotic. Israel is at its lowest level of popularity in the United States of America right now. Are you saying politicians and those in positions of power are infinitely more pro-Israel than the average person in the United States of America? What? So the guy's a terrorist supporter and a ringleader of an organization committed to supporting said group, and these guys unironically think they should be let free in their own countries, openly operate freely instead of imprisoning them here. Even at their foundation, these arguments make zero sense. Oh, yeah, you're saying that even the notion that he is like a ringleader is a stupid argument. Yes, if you follow it to its logical conclusion, even though the underpinning, the underlying premise is completely false. But even if we just dropped that fact for a moment, okay? In that process, yes, when you follow it to a logical conclusion, it's ridiculous. The poster mentioned Western civilization, not Israel. You are if you think that that's what he said. You don't know anything. You're not coming here with the actual facts. It is a poster that was reposted by CUAD allegedly. He never said it. And even if he did, it still doesn't matter. Even if he did, literally go along. Like, dude, Americans are supposed to defend the values of free speech, regardless of whether they agree with what is being said or not. Okay? This is the conversation that we're having.
Clear threat to the United States. And if you want the United States to be overrun by radicals the way Europe has, be my guest. But I think the president needs to stand up for the integrity of the United States.
What is the threat?
The threat of our country being, and our college campuses being overrun by radicals who are trying to run Jewish kids off of campuses and anybody else who disagrees. Yes, they are.
They're not.
UCLA.
They're not. They never. I was there at UCLA. They were not trying to do that. You're a liar. You're lying again and again and again. As a matter of fact, the protests are led by Jewish students. Shut up. Oh my God. But hey, guess what, dude? You know the thing that Asmongold hates? The narrative massaging and the manipulation and lies and the exploitation of language. That's what's happening here, but I'm sure he won't call it out. Or maybe he will. Let's hear him out.
It's not about whether they're Jewish or not. It's got nothing to do with it. Like if he was doing it towards like white people, black people, anybody like that. And also like this is another really good component to it is that if this was a person who was a white person who's come here from another white country and they were joining the KKK, everybody in this panel here would be saying to deport them.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. You don't know that. I wouldn't. I think it's ridiculous. Unless they have actually committed a violent act, I don't think that people should be deported. What? No. People do care about this. I hope people understand. People do care about this, okay? Look at Elon. Elon Musk himself is a perfect example of this. Elon Musk literally lied on his visa. He has legally, the government legally could deport him. The government legally could say, hey, you lied on your student visa. Hey, guess what? You actually dropped out of school. You were not supposed to do that, and you are not legally here. That is a direct violation. You can actually deport someone for that, okay? Asmongold doesn't realize that by defending a right-wing position, he actually, under a Brandon administration, let's say, he would be advocating for his own deportation or his own denaturalization. That's the point that he doesn't understand. It's not, he didn't join Hamas, dumbass. You can't make this comparison. It's just someone who says, I don't like genocide. I'm making demands alongside the rest of the student body as a green card holder. It's as though you decided under this woke Kamala Harris hypothetical scenario, okay, where we're doing DEI only, okay, nothing else. We decided that everyone and anyone that has any conservative opinions that the Democratic Stasi-backed state has decided is wrong and inappropriate, they will now be able to unjustifiably deport all white people or all people that are saying, you know, I'm a conservative. That's what it's like. That's the actual comparison here. Not that like someone joined or whatever. And even then it's not appropriate. Drop Sites Ryan Grimm discusses how the Trump administration argues. Okay, here.
That they don't.
Here, let's hear what Ryan Grimm had to say about this.
Gladsager pinned her down on that because now we understand that the administration is, like you said, making the claim that they don't need to charge a green card holder. And there are probably a lot of green card holders. That means you're a lawful permanent resident. You're on the pathway to citizenship next. Next, you take your test if you want to. That if you're in that status, lawful permanent resident, that Rubio can kick you out without any due process, without charging you with a crime, without even an administrative process kind of inside of the State Department, that if he decides that you are a threat to national security, he can get rid of you. The argument that they are making is that combating anti-Semitism is a foreign policy priority of the United States, and that having somebody who's anti-Semitic in the United States undermines the U.S. ability to pursue its fight against anti-Semitism. So you could also imagine if Democrats said that, as they did, that climate change is a national security threat and that foreign policy is organized around combating climate change, that anybody who's here, who's a permanent resident, who doesn't approve of the Biden administration's climate policy is therefore a threat to climate policy.
Or protests it and hands out anti-climate denying posters, whatever it is, yeah.
Or if they said that, look, January 6th was an insurrection and the Proud Boys are domestic terrorists, and that then anybody who says anything about the 2020 election is therefore supporting domestic terrorists, and if they're a permanent resident, then they can be expelled. You know, you're right that there is this law in the books that could be read to grant the Secretary of State this authority. We've been around for 250 years. That history has been dark at times. There are an awful lot of ugly laws and draconian laws on our books that we understand today are in complete and obvious conflict with the Constitution. And this is one of them. So we'll see, though, whether or not the court ends up agreeing with that. There will be a hearing late this morning between the council and the government.
Why not call Zach? He will not entertain a debate. Why are you asking me? Go ask him. Like, the notion that I'm running away from him is incredibly silly. I would have that conversation with him any day of the week. He's not going to do it.
Everybody would be saying this. So really, it's another argument of optics. The logic here is perfectly sound. Because they're white. Yeah, exactly. It's all emotional optics reasoning. This is whenever I was talking about people having suicidal empathy, I would argue that wanting to keep somebody who wants to eradicate your culture in your country when they're not a citizen, that's suicidal empathy. Selective picking of information? Yes. No, they wouldn't, because legal immigrants are given protections under the Constitution as well. Legal immigrants are given protections under the Constitution as well. Well, number one, he's not a citizen. So, you're saying an immigrant, anybody who comes from this somebody immigrating, not all immigrants are equal. There are some people who have immigrated illegally.
He actively avoided your tweet and argument and banned people who asked him to respond. Yeah, he's not gonna entertain it. Are you kidding me? Especially because if he entertains it, then his audience is gonna say, "Oh, dude, you will destroy him. You'll own him." They want to see a bloodbath, right? Because they view this as drama and content. And if he entertains it, then his audience is going to start asking that question more and more, and he's going to have to ban more people. Obviously, that's something he doesn't want to do. So don't ask me, ask him why he won't talk to me about this stuff. Especially because it makes the situation harder, because he has to come across as reasonable if we have a conversation. And then it's going to make it way harder for him to assume these positions later on. His entire content hinges on him not knowing everything.
There are some people who have immigrated legally. There are some people who have diplomatic immunity because they're diplomats from other countries. And there are some people who are on green cards, other ones that are on work visas, etc. So for you to just say immigrant and using this broad term, this is another, again, intentionally dishonest use of language. Again, asylum seekers, yes, another intentionally dishonest use of language in order to push an agenda that is...
No, dude, it's the current government that's using intentionally dishonest language. This is ridiculous. The lack of self-awareness is crazy. No, I think they're conflating the Constitution applying to immigrants within the U.S. versus applying to them within their own country. I can't understand why people listen to this guy as a question that you guys are asking. There are a lot of dummies out there, man. That's it. Asmongold's popularity is a placeholder for the popularity of this kind of idea. People obviously want this kind of commentary. Okay, that's it. Asmon just states facts. Yeah, totally. It's interesting because his entire argument hinges on him refusing to address the blatant free speech violation here. So I don't know what facts you think he's addressing in this circumstance, but he's not addressing facts. Hasan does this a lot, where he takes the person's argument and turns it into an extreme caricature of argument. Okay. The easiest way to avoid that is to talk to me on your stream then. You know what? I'm going to apologize first. Apologies if I've misunderstood your argument, but I'm open to... No. Apologies if I misunderstood your argument, but I'm open to clarification. You seem to be entertaining right now. You guys are so stupid. You're so stupid. A lot of you are so dumb. You're a stupid person if you don't understand why I'm writing like this, okay? I'm not going to explain myself. Excuse me. You are stupid. I'm not going to say in person. Talk to me directly. Supporting a person who's part of a group that's an advocate of that is very unpopular position to have, getting rid of people that support stories on a green card here. I would say 80 to 90% of the population agree. Yeah, that's a ridiculous statement. Okay. His argument immediately hinges on, I assume that everyone agrees with this, so it's good. That's ridiculous. The fake flyer is really the key to all this, in my opinion. No, it's not, because the flyer itself, even if it's real, is still, okay, you know what's popular? Free speech is popular. Okay. You know what's unpopular? A direct violation of free speech. That's unpopular. You know what's not popular? Fucking Israel, okay? Violating free speech at the behest of Israel is an incredibly unpopular thing to do. It is also an incredibly dangerous precedent to set.
In my opinion, massively regressive. He said legal immigrant. Yeah, but there are multiple types of legal immigrants, and each one has a different classification and expectation. And also, like, some legal immigrants are citizens, some are not. The bar for behavior for them is different. Here's the truth. If this guy was an American citizen, I would completely support his right to do this. But he's not.
Hamas is internationally labeled org, therefore any propaganda for it on American soil kind of violates free speech. No, it doesn't. You don't know anything. No, it does not. What are you talking about? No, it does not. That's the point. You can, in the United States of America, you can literally say you love government, can't support you over it. What are you talking about? It is also constitutionally protected. He's saying he won't talk to you because you're intentionally being dishonest. That's cowardice. Okay? That's cowardice. I have always extended charitability to Asmongold every single time I've had a conversation with him. That is definitely him refusing to have this conversation because he's worried. Asmon says he doesn't want to engage with you right now. He says he thinks you're making a mistake for being extreme about this. I don't think I'm making a mistake. I think what's extreme is the federal government deciding speech that I don't like means you can get deported. That's extreme. It is an extremely un-American thing to advocate for. I think that is the real extremism here, not me defending that. The reason why I said I would talk to him directly is so that he can explain his position without interruption, okay? It is the only way to have a normal back and forth rather than going after clips, going clip for clip, or doing this or that. The best possible way to deal with this would be in person. And I will always be charitable, and I will always treat anyone with respect as long as they also do the same to me, and as long as they don't, say some unhinged like not. Okay? Yeah. Your right to say something depends on what the administration thinks of it, which is no free speech at all, said Will Creeley, legal director at the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, a nonpartisan First Amendment group. I think the reason why he doesn't want to talk about it is because this way he can isolate his community from hearing a alternative perspective, because he's not very open-minded. I am not afraid. I am not afraid of hearing different perspectives. I do it every day, and I'm willing to entertain Asmongold's perspective that is different than mine. Is it his shock that he's getting pushback?
We have enough terrorists here that we have to support their First Amendment right to be terrorists. We have enough of them. We don't need to import new ones. No, you would not. Why do you think I wouldn't? Insane agenda? No, we're not. No, why do you think I wouldn't? This has got people fired up. A lot of people got a lot of opinions about that. Yeah, people are really upset about this. And also, what's the logic? If somebody is a citizen, then how could we deport them? Where would we deport them to?
What is this? Hen Mazik is tweeting about me. Nice. Why is he just, is he claiming that I'm saying this? Like what? But the claim, without any evidence whatsoever, that the Hamas were savages that were simply interested in kidnapping people exclusively because of... Dude, what's funny about this argument is that, like, virtually every single person, with the exception of like maybe a dozen, that were around when the Hamas original charter was written is dead. Like, what are you saying? This is from from like 1988. What the does this have to do with anything? The argument that I'm making is that the operational principle of all Palestinian emancipatory movements is not guided by anti-Semitism. If you have to go all the way back to 1988 to be like, see, when the dudes that wrote it are all dead, is idiotic, especially when they rewrote it in 2016 or 2017. I was around in 1988. What are you saying? Yeah, but you're not a Palestinian, and Israel didn't your parents. Also, there's never been a moment where I've defended this anyway. What the is this? What do you say to someone who goes, but they haven't changed the charter since, so they endorse it? You tell them, what are you talking about? They haven't changed the charter. Yes, they have. They have. What? They have changed it. They did. In 1988. I wasn't even alive back then, obviously, but in 1988, when Hamas wrote that charter, they were initially becoming a tiny, marginal political movement. They were nothing. Anyway.
Really? Like, where would they go? Like, are we going to have, like, I don't know, we can send them to, like, El Salvador's prison or something like that? It doesn't even make any logical sense. Usually agree with you, but I don't today. No. What I'm saying, I'm at work. I can't type it all out. So protesting is cause for deportation. Protesting, that's... Yes. If you are protesting in support of a terrorist organization and you're not a citizen, absolutely.
Yeah, we should have deported every Irish American that offered literal material support to the IRA. We should have deported every single student protester that was a green card holder for protests against the Vietnam War. We should have deported every single protester that protested during the civil rights movement. We should have deported every single protester that protested against apartheid South Africa. Like, what, man? You can only have this kind of confidence in this kind of statement if you personally don't realize that it'll never happen to people that have your opinions. Okay? You're just like, you're confident in this position because you think you're confident in this position because you think it'll never happen to you. That's it. The underlying basis for like conservative advocacy always revolves around it'll never happen to me.
Yes, 100%. Like I would absolutely support that. Get out. You are a non-citizen.
But isn't what he was promoting a direct violation on his green card? No, it's not. It's not. No. Okay, it's not. It is not even a violation for non-citizens. Like, he's a legal permanent resident. He has basically the same, on principle, he has the same protections afforded to every other person. Non-citizens are protected by the First Amendment.
Get follow on? Yes. It's that's not the same as saying that you would fully support them when you said it was terrorism. Well, okay, so whenever I say I would fully support them, is that a person's First Amendment rights are very important. And a person does have a right to...
Not a citizen, end of debate. It doesn't matter, dude. What are you talking about? Holy, you are wrong. I don't know how to have this argument with you. I don't know how to have this conversation with you. You are wrong, okay? If you were right, people wouldn't be having this back and forth right now to begin with. Not only is it immoral, but as it stands right now, it is still illegal. Why? Ask yourself why you believe this. You can't. And then follow through on that logic. Can you go? Can the federal government come in and just tourists? Okay, they're non-citizens. They're on a tourist visa. Can the federal government just come in and be like, sorry, you're dead now. Boom. Why? Because I don't like what you had to say. You can't do that. There are rules protecting every single person on U.S. soil from the enforcement of or incredibly violent actions from the government. You know what I mean? Not a citizen, sorry. You is insane.
Hate Western civilization and want to eradicate it in a certain extent, right? As a citizen. And my point is that because we have to deal with those people, and that's already really annoying. Now we have more of this to add in. Trump's in 5 minutes. Yeah. Let's just wrap this up. I'm going to time you out. You've been very annoying, but I don't think it's a ban. But you know, it's almost a ban. The problem isn't the actual protest.
I'm gonna treat you like a non-citizen.
That's this performative type of propaganda.
I DM'd Asmongold. I said I could talk to you about why this Adams move is unprecedented and incredibly dangerous. Okay, it's on balls in his court.
Yeah. Legal immigrants also have First Amendment rights. No, actually, they don't. Green card holders do not.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They do. He's just objectively incorrect. What? Is he going to give some evidence that I'm unfamiliar with? Maybe he has something that I don't know.
That's the whole conversation point for this. No, they don't.
No, that's not a conversation point. No, you can't just say they don't. What? Who decided? What?
Yeah, it's just this simple.
They wouldn't even let them go to class. First of all,
they were
Says who? The people that wrote the laws.
What? No, they did. What?
First of all, there were violent counter-protests at UCLA that were done by Jewish organizations.
No, both sides did.
No, that's true. He's right.
Mahmoud Khalil case goes to court, spotlighting green card holders' rights. Let's look up First Amendment, okay? Green card holders also have the right to free speech, according to David Cole, a Georgetown law professor. The First Amendment does not distinguish between citizens and non-citizens, says Cole, who successfully represented Palestinian clients in a lengthy First Amendment case. Therefore, since you couldn't punish a citizen for their speech, you couldn't deport a foreign national for their speech. Green card status can be revoked, as in cases where someone has obtained that status by fraud or they commit serious crimes. The government also has broad powers under anti-terrorism laws, including the ability to block entry or remove a non-citizen. I do think for people who are non-citizens, there's some risk in protesting, depending on how the protest is interpreted, says Jason Zabov, a partner at More Osorio, an immigrant law firm in Washington, D.C. And the reason for that is because of the anti-terrorism provisions are just so broad. These are some of the most insane provisions that we've been using since post 9/11. Having said that, this person has not violated even those provisions. That's why there is already a legal battle. There is a legal back and forth. Asmongold is entirely incorrect on this. He said he won't talk to you because you started with this misinterpreting him. That's just the reason. Okay, well, again, he doesn't want to have this conversation because I think he doesn't want me to inform his audience. Oh.
The guy in the cowboy, he's right. There were. I watched it happen. And the fact is that the violent counter-protests were the ones that were initiating...
Please read, there's a precedent for it. Aliens in the United States. Brother, I don't think you understand the statute that you are posting about, okay? This is a very serious issue, okay? The statute that you are posting does not mean what you think it means. Classes of aliens ineligible for visas or admissions means, okay, an alien, an undocumented documented non-citizen trying to come into the United States of America. If this provision extended to people who have already gotten their actual authorized waiver as a legal permanent resident, okay, revoking the green card status of a person, revoking the green card status of a person for this reason is the same as advocating to denaturalize a person. Do you understand? Like denaturalizing a naturalized citizen, or even a U.S. born naturalized, U.S. born citizen, a native born American citizen. Okay, revocation is different than denying a waiver. What is this? Asmon just went over this to prove he's right. And the question within the existing law, in and of itself, if that was to be the case, we have to argue on morality as well. Do we think this is a good argument? I don't think it's moral, and I don't think it's legal either, okay? This is a double Monty. People are confusing the constitutionality of the residency applications versus presence on U.S. soil. The U.S. government can use Communist Party membership to deny entry into the U.S., but once you're in the U.S., you are granted constitutional rights by virtue of being on the soil. Thank you. That's why this is incredibly, incredibly important. This case is a landmark case, okay? Waivers are authorized. Waiver authorized, provision authorizing waiver of certain subparagraphs on this paragraph. Security-related grounds. Any alien who's a consular officer, the Attorney General knows, has reasonable grounds to believe seeks to enter the U.S. to engage solely, principally, or incidentally in any activity to violate any law in the United States, terrorist activities in general. All of this is about a denial. A denial. You don't understand what you are reading. The grounds for denying a waiver is different than once that waiver has been given to you. A legal permanent resident has different standards. What is happening? Also, I think that shit is stupid too, for the record. That is literally a direct anti-communist move that the American government has historically used. I talked about it yesterday. Of course, if you only watch me in clips, you don't know that. You can waive someone's rights to come into the United States, but once they have a waiver, once they are a legal permanent resident, okay, once they're on U.S. soil, they are protected by the Constitution. The problem here is Asmongold doesn't understand what he's reading. He's reading something that he thinks proves his point. It's not. It actually does not prove his point at all. Yes, the American government, if you watch me frequently, I've talked about this before, American government has a bunch of stupid anti-communist laws. For example, on your application, you have to literally say that you've never actually entertained communism. You've never actually participated in a communist party or whatever okay? Like that's a real thing. You cannot be a part of any sort of communist activities. That's literally the law. It's ridiculous, but it's still the law. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid. I think it's a remnant of the Red Scare era. Red Scare 1, Red Scare 2, right? But this argument in and of itself is about denying a waiver into the country. When you already have a legal permanent residency, revoking that is an incredibly high bar to clear. I just hate that America, once again, is unironically like removing the last 4 or 5 good things that it has in its constitution. Okay? It's just crazy. Like, we are never getting healthcare. We're not doing any of the good shit that other countries are doing. We're just only focusing on the bad. Here he starts reading here at timestamp.
For admission. So here we go, and this is again B, terrorist activities. So an alien who has engaged in a terrorist activity has reasonable ground to believe is engaged in or likely to engage after entry with terrorist activity, intention to cause death, is a representative of a terrorist organization.
I'm literally DMing him, telling him he's wrong. Like, once someone is a legal permanent resident and on U.S. soil, they are still afforded the same constitutional protections everyone else has.
A political group that endorses or espouses terrorist activity. So based off of this, if he is part of a group that endorses a terrorist organization,
Crash Out
then
Piker this is not a crash out at all. I'm trying to correct a colleague of mine making a major mistake in front of 52,000 people who don't know the truth, who don't understand it.
To this, he can be deported. So this is what the rules are. This is what the rules say. Now, Hasan might have a good point. Is this going to stand up against the First Amendment? And if he wants to sue the government and decide that, I think that's fine. Now, my personal opinion is
this is not applicable. This is not applicable to the current situation. This is not applicable to the current situation. Oh, the current situation is different. This is a legal permanent resident. You're reading a denial of waiver into the country. Yes, the American government can also... Here, I'll give you a great example. Something as stupid as accidentally keeping a banana in your backpack. Customs and Border Patrol has dogs, okay? Customs and Border Patrol has dogs. Why do they have dogs out there? There are dogs that specifically sniff out agriculture, okay? If you come into the United States from an area where you have a banana in your backpack as a tourist, and they find this fresh vegetable or fruit in your backpack, you can be denied entry into the country. Now, in most circumstances, they won't do that, but they have that right. If you have a banana in your backpack, once you've passed that boundary, you can't be removed from U.S. soil. The reason why is because when you're coming into the country, you have a different set of standards than past the point of entry into the country. It's that simple. And by the way, I'm not discounting why there is global biosafety standards. Obviously, it's understandable that the Customs and Border Patrol has this rule. It just comes across as silly, but there is a good reason for it. But that's besides the point. There are different rules in terms of coming into the country versus once you are inside of the country. It's pretty simple. It's that simple. He read my DM and said, if that's the case, he agrees with me. That undermines his entire point that he's conducting for the past 2 days. So all he needed to do was figure out that like non-citizens and citizens alike have the same constitutional protections, especially legal permanent residence. That's it. Like the underpinning of this argument is just like a fundamental misunderstanding of existing law and constitutional protections. He's insinuating that he doesn't think you're right. No, I am. Being blocked from the videos the other day, what? Anyway, I don't know why so many people came in here to tell me that you're reading the law incorrectly. I'm sorry to say. Wait, what? Explain how I'm reading the law incorrectly, or explain to me what the existing law is for this. You have to read A and then drop down to 4C. Wait, what? I'm going to ban you if you're just me. I hope you understand that. Classes of aliens ineligible for visas or admission. Wait, what? That's A. Classes of aliens ineligible for visa or admission except as otherwise provided in this chapter. Aliens who are inadmissible under the following paragraphs are ineligible to receive visas and ineligible to be admitted into the United States. Okay? Oh, an alien whose entry or proposed activities in the United States Secretary of State has reasonable ground to believe would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Again, this is about admission into the country. He is not in the process of applying for a visa. He is a legal permanent resident. He is not in the process of applying for a visa. This is what the State Department thinks is a valid claim. This is the underlying argument, the silly ass argument that they try put forward. It's inadmissible. It just doesn't apply in this circumstance, and it doesn't apply at all. You have rights. You have rights as an immigrant. You have rights as a legal permanent resident. You have rights that protect you. Okay? Saying you're reading it wrong. I am not. No, I just don't understand. The notification of determinations is if determination is made under Clause 3, which is respect to an alien, the Secretary of State must notify on a timely basis the chairman of the committees of the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs and the House of Representatives of the committees on the Judiciary and Foreign Relations of the Senate the identity of the alien and the reasons for the determination. I'm reading C4. Read my messages. I'm crying here for the love of God. No, you're reading it wrong. Still reading the wrong thing. It's 8 USC 1227. Another update on Asmongold. He said that he's not going to engage in a debate because it's stressful and annoying. Hasan is beginning his interpretation with a... Wait, what? Wait, I already saw that. He said that earlier. Maybe the point is that he shouldn't have been given a green card because of that clause, so now they're revoking it and deporting him? No, you can't do that. You can't just apply... you can't apply a post hoc justification for revoking someone's green card like that. That would mean that you can also denaturalize citizens. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you can't do that. That would mean that if tomorrow he had his citizenship test and he became a naturalized U.S. citizen, that would mean that the government could denaturalize him on the basis of the fact that he was a non-citizen at a certain point. That's not how it works. You can't do a post hoc application. That is also unconstitutional. Now, the problem is the Trump administration does not give a about the Constitution, clearly, and they're trying to erode the Constitution, which is unironically the argument that we're making right now. The argument that we're advocating for against is this. This is the whole point. President in violation of law. Any alien who's president of the United States in violation of this chapter. Non-immigrant status violators. Violators of conditions of entry. Termination of conditional permanent residence. In general, permanent resident status. Wait, what? Why do you think this proves your point? I don't understand. He didn't do marriage fraud or anything like that. What law did he violate? That's the whole point. 8 USC 1227 says that if an alien commits terrorism, they're plausible to be deported. Yeah, it's not. It's not terrorism. You can't say something I think is terrorism and then deport someone. That's the whole point. That's the whole point that's the whole argument. That's the whole argument. Yeah, any alien who's described in subparagraph B or F section of this title is deportable, okay? Terrorist activities is an intentionally vague designation, but you can't decide. You can't just simply say, I don't like what you're saying, so you're a terrorist. That is insane. That is an insane erosion of constitutional protections that were previously afforded to non-citizens and citizens alike. Do you not understand my point here? I'm saying that the American government, with no care or consideration for the Constitution, is unironically trying to erode a protection. That's the point. That's what they're trying to do. And it is, as it stands, currently illegal. It is also immoral. If they were to turn around and decide that it is legal now, I would also argue against the dangerous precedent that this is setting. And I am arguing against the dangerous precedent that they're trying to set. The entire debate or the back and forth happening here is that the American government is literally trying to manipulate pre-existing law with very little evidence, with no evidence whatsoever. And they've been, the Trump admin isn't even using this argument. Their whole case relies on Rubio personally signing it. Exactly. How do people not understand that my anger here, my resentment here, my frustration here, and my fears here are the fact that we are now deciding unilaterally, one guy goes, you're a terrorist. Why are you a terrorist? I don't really need to tell you why you're a terrorist. You're just a terrorist. Now you can get deported. That's psychotic. That is a direct violation of First Amendment. Just like BDS is a direct violation. Like anti-BDS laws are also a violation of the First Amendment, for the record. Just so you understand. They still exist, but they are a violation. Weirdly enough, both of these violations are happening at the behest of Israel. It's also wild considering that the current administration is now actively talking about vandalizing Teslas being an act of terrorism. Yeah, he's not an alien. He's a permanent resident. There's no visa. He lived in the United States with no limit. Exactly. This is such a silly conversation to have. This silly back and forth to have. And also, when faced with evidence to the contrary, Asmongold immediately said, if it's true, then I guess he's right and I'm wrong. That's what he said.
Legal cause, reading that's about denying a waiver. When someone's legal permanent resident on soil, it's not as constitutional protections everybody else has. Well, if that's true, then he should stay. Yeah. And
it is true. It is true.
And that's really it. I mean, like, I think that they need to decide that in the court. Right. And if that's the way that the law works, I mean, I don't really know exactly how the law works. This is what I've heard.
Then why did you spend 48 hours worth of content is saying. Oh my
That's
God.
if. Yeah, exactly. Now, in my opinion, by the way, this is still my opinion. I don't want to have anybody in the country that's not a naturalized citizen that's supporting a terrorist organization. And I don't think that we need to afford the full rights of freedom of speech to people that are not even citizens to advocate for terror.
Okay, you don't like the First Amendment. That's it. You don't like the First Amendment then. You are anti-free speech. That's it. You are anti-free speech. Is chat saying you folded, shaking my head? Wait, what? Are they just imagining alternative realities? How the am I folding? He's the one who's walking back the underlying falsehood that he was operating off of, that he was so confidently talking about, that has now been seen by hundreds of thousands of people. And he's also the one who doesn't want to talk to me. Oh, they're saying you folded, that he folded. They're mad at him. I can't believe this is even a point of contention when Khalil was protesting on behalf of all these people. Yeah, we're not even tackling I haven't even been able to talk about the ridiculousness of the claim that he is he is a terrorist. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Wait, I want to get on a call. He says that I am intentionally misinterpreting his audience or something, or intentionally misinterpreting what he's saying. But the real reason why he doesn't want to have that conversation is because even a DM caused them to go, okay, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know exactly what this is.
I think this is an insane position to have.
And that he found it stressful.
Now, if Hasan, here's the thing, though. If Hasan is right, if he is right, then he should stay. I just don't think he is, from everything that I've read and I've seen about it.
I don't think you read anything. No, what have you read? What have you seen about this? What have you read about this? I don't think you've read anything. The thing that you read, you misinterpreted.
So we're going to find out. And, bro, how do you argue against that? I don't know. I have no idea how people argue against that.
Wait, what?
But, yeah. And let's see here. No, Patriot Act won't allow him to stay. Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's a good point. I forgot all about the Patriot Act. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and look at this.
Oh, my God. Right-wing Twitter, Reddit, and Vibes is what he read? Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't even... Dude, the thing that he read, he didn't even understand. The thing that he read, he misunderstood. I corrected him. I corrected the thing that he read that he misunderstood. And he just turned around and went, okay, I don't agree with him. I don't believe him. Or if he's right, then yeah, he should stay. And then followed up by celebrating the Patriot Act.